Never been seen at all.
Daryl, you're just a black screen.
Coming at all? Okay. Let me hear.
Oh,
Can you hear me at all?
yes.
No. Me at all?
Yes.
Can you see me now?
Yes.
I guess it's these headphones. And I'm plugged in before too. Well, hi there.
Huh? Hi. I made it home. It was gross.
Hello.
Alrighty then. Look who we have here. We have on our screen, on the very bottom, it's Mr. Daryl.
I don't want to be on the bottom.
You are on the bottom. And then on the top left we have Skylar, and on the top right we have Tori. And for those of you that are watching either live or later on YouTube, this is the finale, but back up a little bit and take a detour, because in our story it was a couple weeks ago, we saw what happened with the ghosts. But what we don't know exactly, other than Vanessa's dream spell that she cast to give information to Shadrach, is what happened at the monastery. And that is what tonight is going to be, because in parallel to that story, the main story, we had the story of the thief and the chef. And they previously encountered some of those that were in the main story. As you may have seen, the episode, I'm Your Daughter. But that is not, that happened, and that's been dealt with.
Family was a big theme.
But tonight, you may be wondering why Daryl is here. Well, if you remember, Daryl had Daryl had played Reginald. And I'm sure not all of you, or even one of you, understand that Reginald had been acquainted, shall we say, with a certain drow princess. The one that is currently with Aluna and Bjorn. The name, although I don't know if Daryl would remember, he probably has it in his notes somewhere, but her name was Falco. And they had a little get-together, more at the behest of Falco than Reginald, but Reginald did not turn away the advances. And then they kind of met up one other time out on the road somewhere, I think, and that was about it. But tonight, the Bjorn and Aluna have been finding out what the man is all about. The man of Tila. Who he is and what he is and what motivations he might have. And Falco is the man's daughter. And as the man explained to Abbot Patrick at the monastery what all has been going on, Falco could not wait because she heard Reginald was somewhere here and she very much wants to see him. So we left off the last game with the thief and the chef after they had had a discussion, listened to the man explain who he was and what his motivations were and what he was about. Aluna also noticed several, or should I say, she found that in the man's possessions were some very interesting looking gems in this chest back in his house. She did not steal them, however. She had, I don't know if it would be a bad feeling or she felt like she didn't want to steal from the man or who knows, but she didn't take them. She just left them alone. And then they went to travel to this meeting that the man was not invited to, but he said that he needed to be there because the meeting was about the changes in the constellations and the feeling that the priests and sages and oracles had all felt a changing in the ambient nature of the world, and there was to be a big discussion about it. So they traveled there. They were allowed in once the man once it was known who he was, and he was ushered directly in to meet with Abbot Patrick, and Aluna and Bjorn were with him, and so was Falco. And also Aluna has 3 henchmen, these gnolls that they have. She had I don't know what the term would be, that she earned by the previous adventure, if you will, in this story. So, unless any of these players have any questions or need any rules clarifications or anything, we shall pick up tonight's story with where they all are right now, and I don't see anyone needing anything explained. So this will hopefully, I don't know if we'll actually get through this. We're getting a little bit of a late start, but sometimes, real life intrudes, and we should just blame Aluna because she's the only girl playing and for no other reason.
It's just a game.
It's just a game. That's true. But, so, Aluna, Bjorn, and the others were, if I remember correctly, unless I'm misremembering, I thought you were shown to some quarters after the meeting. And if not, then you would have been for sure. And so the man, he is not asking for special treatment, so he is given quarters, him and his daughter, and you two are asked to share a room. I don't know if you still have the picture of the monastery that I sent you, but in one of the buildings on the north side, there's the soldiers, and then there's another building on the right where the monks stay. You are in that building. As far as Reginald, you are in a tent. There are many tents and banners outside of the walls of the monastery. There's so many people here, and like retainers and soldiers and whatever, and all these nobles have their retinues with them that you all are staying. Now the Duke, he seems to be spending a lot of time in the monastery proper, inside the walls. So you're kind of hanging out with the other, for lack of a better term, we'll call them personal guards of the Duke. And the Duke is accompanied by his assistant. He didn't come with his wife or anything, or his kids. And you get the idea that the Duke is in a very much business mode. He is the representative of the High Mucky Muck, as
He is the Lord's monk.
so. Outside amongst the tents and all that, there's probably at least 300 people, you would think, and like 30 or 40 tents of varying sizes. There are some that are much bigger than others, and you can assume that is because those are people that can afford it. Visiting bishops, perhaps famous sages or other priests from around the region. You haven't really had the chance to like walk around and introduce yourself to everybody, not that you would necessarily, but you know that there's a lot of people here, and this is apparently a really big deal, and apparently you could be considered one of the main reasons why this is even happening at all. So you were asked a couple times by the Duke's men about the story, and you kind of tell it and you tell it again, and after a while they quit asking and they just kind of accept that this is one of those things that is above their pay grade. None of them seem to be like talking about climbing the social ladder or trying to make an impression. They seem to be mostly about security, keeping their eyes open, looking for threats. There's always a possibility that someone could try to be an opportunist at these moments and take out a rival, even if we don't know about it. You know, there's always a chance that something could go awry. And as you would well know, that certainly wouldn't be the first time. So my question for you, Reginald, would be, is there anything specifically that you want to do outside of just waiting patiently in the camp outside the walls?
Unless my obligations to the Duke prevent it, I will entertain the other members of the diplomats' parties, the area that I'm encamped. I'll stroll about and play my lute and sing a tale about Kazan, how he was defeated at Blackrock. It's like collecting a music tale.
Okay. Roll me a charisma check with advantage, please. seem to be well received. There seems to be a general uplifting of the people as you stroll about and play music and tell their stories. They seem to be receptive to what you are putting down, as they say. And
this, I'm just entertained.
right, and let me just say that you're coming in loud and clear, and so, you know,
Very good.
that seems weird that a headset would cause stupidity, but whatever.
We were in trouble with it last week. Everybody said they couldn't hear me. So I bought it on sale, refurbished. Well, it's unfurbished now.
Okay. So, as far as Aluna and Bjorn, when you are given your quarters, is there anything that you all would like to either discuss, interact, or do before something happens?
I mean, no, we just found out a whole lot about a whole lot of stuff.
I asked my question and he said it was not that easy. It's the only thing I had. I got nothing else. I'm along for the ride. You not remember my question that I asked him? The man, when we got here? I don't know. It was real subtle. I went and tugged on his robe and I was like, you need to teach me how to do that. Because he said he was an avatar.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
Are you talking to the dungeon master, or are you talking to
Yeah, I'm
Aluna?
talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was all I had. Other than that, I'm just here. I'm along for the ride and the guts and the glory.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, after, we'll say an hour, there is a general state of heightened energy in the camp and in the monastery itself. And you hear lots of footfalls inside the monastery walking past the room and outside in the campgrounds, as you see people starting to come around, and they seem like they're the more even though this is not the proper term, the more important people, the higher stations, the actual people of influence are apparently heading in towards the monastery itself, and the Duke comes back with his assistant and he says, Reginald, you need to be ready. We've been summoned. We're gonna apparently something has changed, and we need to have a meeting now. And you maybe ask some questions. So I hope you're ready for this.
I am ready. And I harness my loop, tighten up my shirt, make sure my volcano brooch is on straight.
Very good. Aluna and Bjorn, the door is knocked on, and it is the man, and he says, well, apparently we are going to see what we can do. I think that the abbot has taken my story very serious, and I think that in just a few minutes we're going to get some answers, or at least something. So I need you guys to be ready, and I need you to be ready for anything. Mostly, I need you to make sure that Falco is where she's supposed to be, that she doesn't, you know, what she does. Okay?
Okay, yeah, that's what we're here for.
Okay. So, he says, I'll be back in a few minutes, and when I am, please come with me to the temple. And he leaves. So what do you guys plan on taking with you to the meeting?
Well, he said be ready for anything, so I'm gonna go in my armor and like I won't take my bow, but I'll take my. We had to turn in our weapons.
You
didn't we?
did, yes, you did.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna go in there in my like everyday traveling clothes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, did they end up taking my knife?
Anything? Well, let's put it this way. If I remember correctly, you all agreed that you didn't want to test the security measures. So it would be fair to assume that you do not have anything that could be used to inflict harm or shed blood. If we want to go old school D&D, clerics used to not be able to use weapons that could shed blood. That's based on an actual religious thing from long ago. It kind of changed as time went on, but this place took it literal and put up defenses that if you tried to get a weapon in this place, something bad would happen to you. So
is there like one of those heavy ornamental candlesticks in this room?
Absolutely.
With a candle on it? Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to grab that and take it with me.
Now, candles, this is just for trivia's sake, not to throw a wrench into your plans, but the idea is that in this particular area, since you're closer to the ocean, there's a much larger access to lamp oils because of the surrounding flora and fauna and what have you. So candles, there are candles, but lamps are way more prevalent and used every day. But sure, there's still going to be some candles and candlesticks in every room. So
yes.
Okay, so
you're
you
looking for something heavy and blunt.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's something bigger, I'll take that. I mean, I could pretty much carry whatever.
I mean, you could break a leg off a chair if you want. That would be bigger.
That's true.
Yeah, but that's I don't want to like sack the place. Just something easy.
Yeah, well, that would definitely be. I mean, there's in these small rooms, you are not subjected to all of the restrictions that the monks are. So the monks, they've got like a bowl and a bucket. They don't really have a table and a chair and a chest, like for putting things in at the foot of the bed. And
there's fireplace in here, right?
No.
No?
Okay. It gets cold in the winter.
Yeah.
There's a fireplace in the abbot's place where you had your initial talk when you entered the monastery, but the regular thing here there isn't. Now there might be a central area where there might be, imagine if you will, like the scene from the Lord of the Rings where they go to the horse lords and they got the big fireplace in the middle of the hall. There could be that kind of setup, but there isn't something for each individual room except for lots of blankets.
Gotcha.
So a little while later, you are the door is knocked upon, and the man looks at you all and says, "Let's go." And he looks pretty much the same way, except for you both notice that he has a large pouch hanging off his right hip now. A large pouch which looks like it's containing heavy objects of...
Like large enough to hold those stone gem things that
It wouldn't be a bad guess, but I cannot confirm that because where would be the mystery in that? And so, you all enter the temple. There are people filing in. There are guards there along with monks who are the monks are like greeting, and they're doing a lot of like nodding. They're not talking. They're shaved top of their heads, kind of glinting off the sun, or the sun is glinting off their heads, whatever the way it should be phrased. And then there's the sub-prior is also there at the big double doors, and he is actually, occasionally you see him talking to some individual, and they kind of, maybe a chuckle or a or this or that. As the Duke and Reginald pass by, he nods to the Duke, and the Duke nods back to him, but they don't really say anything. They just kind of acknowledge each other, and then the sub-prior then looks at Reginald, and he recognizes Reginald, but he doesn't like go, "Hey, it's Reginald." He just kind of, his eyes just for a second are like, "Oh," like that.
I give it a discreet nod.
Right. And in the temple, there are pews, and there's an altar in the back, and there is a large statue of what Reginald may or may not recognize as the double helix. He's probably seen this before from some of the holy people that he may have encountered. The pews are filling up, and there's a lot of murmuring. You know, the background noise is pretty loud. There's a lot of echoing in this temple. The question is, let me see if I because I don't think, Daryl, you might not have that picture, or you might.
Of what?
Of
the statue?
Of the temple.
I'm not sure, dude.
So let me, okay, here it is. So let me send that to you. And it just got sent. And then...
The map?
So that
the hand-drawn map?
That doesn't show. Where's the one that Jason drew?
Yeah, I don't have access to the ghost thread.
Well, I sent it to Daryl LaRue.
I've got the hand-drawn map.
Okay. Okay. I might not...
The other map was on the ghost.
Oh, was it? Okay. Let me go back here. Let me go back here and see if I can find it.
I might have even saved it.
Error loading media? No, that's not going to help. That ain't going to help none. Let's see. There it is. Media, file, and links. Let's see. Might not be... Oh, okay. So he started to draw it. Okay, so... but it doesn't look like it's on squares. Okay, so if I remember what I had said was it's like about 80 feet wide by about 120 feet long. So we'll just go with that. So I'm just going to draw that out on the table. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 90, 100. We'll just do it like that. Alright. So, altar, and then behind was the steps that go down. And when the statue is back there, we'll just kind of... Oh, there we go. We'll use that as a statue. That's cool. All right. So...
Just so you know, Sky's still here. He's just getting kids
Okay.
entertained.
Yes.
He can still hear you.
Okay, I see. All right. So
Yeah, he took his headset with him.
Oh my gosh. So I'm going to show you the drawing here in a second. That's weird. My black marker has decided to quit working, but I bought a whole box of them. So. Aha. All right. Okay. It's weird. It's like something's on the table. I don't know. Okay. So my question would be to Aluna, since you're the one that's here.
Listen, I'm here, okay?
The man is sitting all the way up front. Are you gonna, with Falco, are you gonna stay with them?
Yeah, I would kind of like maybe stand. I would want to be near Falco. Wherever she is where I'm going to be next.
And then, do you you bring the gnolls with you?
No, I give them the night off. I feel like this might be a little much if people see a bunch of gnolls everywhere.
Okay. And they will go back up over here. Okay. And then Reginald, you will be with the Duke, and he will be sitting on the opposite side since he is the representative of the High Mucky Muck, as we say, since he is the Lord's Muck, and you are with him. And then as you are looking around the place, let me describe some of the individuals that, and I will switch the camera here for you so you can just get a brief look. Or actually, why do I don't need to do that. I can take a picture. Hey!
That's a great resource, man.
Look at this fucking guy figuring shit out. Okay, so let's see here. What do I want to do? I want to do what?
Paper clip and picture.
Let's see. Can I do this? Let's do that one. How do I add people? People? No? There's got to be a way I can do this. Well, let's take a picture first.
When Reginald spots Falco...
Well, hold on now. We're going to see if he does. That's the fun part.
He doesn't. Come on.
Okay, so then choose who sees this. There we go. So we want, yep, they're right there at the top. Bling, bling. Okay, so I just sent to Dare. Okay, so I wonder if I could add Daryl to that just to make that easy.
I've got it. I see a pink cool, a guy with a candlestick, and then we're okay. There we're good.
There we go. Okay, Daryl is now in the Friday Night Dungeon group, so I can just send it to all of you at once if need be. Okay, so, and then there's pews. You know, just like a I don't know, kind of, I kind of imagine kind of like the church that I was married in. It's you know, rectangle shaped, and there's pews, so a lot of people can fit in here. And there's a way down the center that's not blocked that goes straight up to the altar. So the murmuring is happening. Okay. So Daryl says, when I see Falco. Well, let's see if you see her. Roll a perception check for me, please. You're rolling a D30 and adding your intelligence and telling me the total.
It's a good roll. 15 plus 27 is 40.
Oh, yeah. So you look across and you're kind of looking around, and as you're sitting there, you see Falco sitting next to the man who you may remember that kind of got you involved in all of this all that time ago. And also sitting with her, you see a dwarf and a woman. Appears to be a human woman there. And
she had a protector. Was he around?
No, you do not see. Let's see.
Remember he was drow or human?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was drow. I thought
he was. He. You do not see him.
Okay, but when I see her, I will give the boyish grin and a fruit tip of my plumed hat.
Okay. She gets up, and as she starts to move, you see the man put his hand out on her arm, and then he looks where she's looking, and he sees you, and he doesn't do anything other than he sees you, and then at that point Abbot Patrick walks out.
I give a bow to the man and acknowledge that he sees me.
And the murmuring starts to go down as Abbot Patrick takes a place in front of the altar. So like just about 10 to 15 feet away from Bjorn and about 20 foot away from the Duke, because you guys are in the front row there. And the murmuring kind of starts to go down a little bit. And then Abbot Patrick looks out, and you see he begins casting a spell, very obviously. To all that may be watching, and I do not mean in our holy temple, but outside of it, I wish for you to not watch anymore, and I expunge your vision from our temple. And you feel kind of like a weird wash go out from him and kind of just travel lightly over everyone's head before it dissipates and floats away up into the vaulted ceilings. Thank you all for coming. In case you don't know, I am Abbot Patrick, and welcome to the Temple of the Blend here at Blackrock. I thank the Lord's Muck for his attendance, esteemed dukes, sages, scholars, priests of other faiths. As you know, the blend encompasses all. You are welcome here so long as your spirit is one of gentleness, believing in the good of people before believing in the bad. And though there is bad and good in everyone who is mortal, understand that this place is for healing, specifically. It is our mission to provide weary travelers with a night or two of comfort, to fill their bellies, to cure their aches and pains. And I think it is very important that you all recognize that our land is in pain. Those of you that have recognized the change in the lights in the sky, you see this for the facts that they are. And even though there are those here who would choose to disbelieve such things, there is one here who we may say is responsible. And I know that you all have not heard, this is a recent addition to our meeting. And I don't want to overstate how important this man's presence is. For he has confided in me, and he has explained that he is in pain. And he has come to be healed. Please stand up and approach. And he signals down to the man. And the man stands up, and you hear a murmuring through the crowd. Some people seem to recognize this figure, this individual. Others don't know who he is.
The man? He's ill?
Abbot Patrick says, "This is the man. Specifically, he is but a tiny piece of Cryos, the constellation Titan. Some of you in our realms of knowledge would understand him to be an avatar. Those of you who are specifically engaged in the studies of godhood and what it means to live only through a set of values and not have any free will, understand that this being has made choices up until now none of his kind ever could. And he is the reason we are all here. The back of the room, the doors fly open, and a cool breeze kind of blows in and kind of shakes you all. Ugh, just for a second.
Reginald looks to Latonia.
You see,
Feels real nice on my legs.
you see a man that Reginald may recognize, but I don't think Aluna or Bjorn have seen. He is dressed as if he is covered in vines, and he's wearing armor made of what looks to be bark, and he's wearing a laurel on his head. and he has a large wooden staff. And with him comes someone Reginald does recognize. The woman who he sought out to create for him a musical instrument, if I remember correctly.
Yes, the flautist from Tila.
Accompanied by 6 other women wearing sheer yellow linen clothes. And Reginald recognizes them as perhaps something he might have seen on the trail going to Notneff, and that was attacked.
Sounds familiar for sure.
And Abbot Patrick looks, and a couple of the soldiers come over, and they look like they're kind of perhaps going to intervene when Abbot Patrick says, "Halt! Before you come any further." And the guy in the bark armor and the laurel on his head says, "Yeah, man, I know, no weapons, no nothing. Well, I don't. This isn't a weapon. This isn't enchanted. It is a walking stick. I don't even use it other than to walk. But I'll leave it here if you want, man." And the man kind of stops and looks, and then Woody's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, sorry we're late. I think our invitations got lost." And then he's like, the woman like pulls hers out and says, "Mine didn't." And he's like, Go ahead, man. We'll sit back here in the back. It's not a big deal. Oh, by the way, everybody, hi, I'm Woody. I'm Archdruid of the Florian Circle. What's up? Anybody need any good bud? You come see me. I know that's perfectly well and good. It's for medicinal purposes, I swear. Pain management, killer. Oh yeah, and this are members of the Southern Coven. They told me they were mistreated the last time they were here. So I told them it had to be a mistake. Anyway, yeah, so we'll just sit down here. Never mind us. And he kind of goes over and sits down in an empty pew, and all of the ladies kind of sit down around him and to the left. And so Abbot Patrick says, "So I guess I will let this man speak to you. I don't see why we wouldn't. Perhaps we can get a final explanation of what happened to the lights in the sky and what it means." And he goes behind the altar, and it looks like he pulls up. It looks like there's like a stool back there that you couldn't see, and he appears to sit down. So the man looks out at everybody. He seems to be almost judging everyone he looks at. And he takes just, everything is quiet. Like
Give him that big stupid grin that I do.
You could hear a pin drop, as they say, as he looks out. With occasionally there's a cough. And then after what seems like an unbearable eternity of silence, he says, "I am Cryos," or "I was Cryos. All of the attacks, all of the raids, on your kingdom are because of me. Not because I commanded them to do so, but because they were looking for me. Me or a specific relic. And that's where Woody's like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm here. Yeah, you're talking about the egg, dude. And the people are like, egg? What's that? I've never heard of such a thing. And then you hear somebody gasp on the left, and he kind of composes himself, just this long-haired, gray-haired man. And he says, I'm going to go away. And the only way that I can go away for good is to make peace with what I've done here. That is my daughter. And he points out Falco. She is everything to me. She is something that the other million pieces of me would never understand or care about. And I would do anything for her. If anything happened to her, I don't know what I would do. And I need all of you to make perception checks, please. I will call out for numbers here. I guess, Aluna, if you want to... Oh, there's Skylar. All right. So, let's start with Aluna.
I got 10. Wait, no, 20, sorry.
Total?
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll go to Reginald.
30 plus your level.
27.
27. And then we'll go to Bjorn. It's a D30 plus your intelligence, please.
Intelligence. See, you said my level. You're crazy.
She crazy.
You're quite crazy. 26.
26. Okay. Amazing.
Always better to act up if you're smart.
Okay. There appears to be a couple murmurs coming from the crowd, but you're not sure why. You see Abbot Patrick stand up off the stool. And with that, you see three or four or like 10 people start to move up front towards the front of the temple. They appear to be dressed in not commoner's clothes, but nice clothes, doublets, hose, no weapons. No weapons are allowed. Appear to be all young, strapping men. Abbot Patrick, you see him nod and look at the guys that are approaching. And then you see him like go down as if he like jumped in a hole or something behind the altar. And you see the man's like So what I plan on doing, and from the back of the room, not Woody or the supposed Southern Coven, but somebody that, oh snap. That is not it. We're going to have to pause here for a second. I forgot to bring up my little note I wrote myself.
Your age is showing.
It is. Okay. Where'd Daryl go?
I'm here.
Okay.
He left when you left.
Okay.
What you got?
You see Abbot Patrick come back up and walk around to the front of the altar, and he says, Avatar of Cryos, if you would like your daughter to be safe, and you would like to be healed, we have an idea. All of us here, Woodward of the Aslorian Circle, the Southern Coven, and all of those lords present, would like you to have your daughter to join the Southern Coven. It will mend the alliance between the Druids and our peoples. It will offer her the protection that you cannot. And it will appease the stain upon our temple that was wrought upon it by those that treated them so poorly and went against our temple's commandments. As you look at Falco, she kind of, her hands go up in horror, and she's like, "No, you can't! and she gets up and she tries to run in Reginald's direction. I see you shaking your head, Bjorn. Are you doing something?
I'm not allowed to let her run.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna try to stop her.
Right.
Okay, and what about you, Reginald?
If I recognize that's what she's doing, I will move to give her comfort.
Well, she's certainly looking at you with a face of, like, I don't want to say terror, that's the wrong, more like, what's the term? Not horror either, but there's a word
Dread.
for, yeah, dread. Okay, so, first things first, go ahead and go for a grab. Well, Aluna, you're there, so go ahead and roll a d20, Aluna. Roll a melee.
Alright, so...
Melee is on the left.
Successfully grabbed.
Melee is on the left of your sheet.
-3.
-3. Okay, so you
I
get
rolled a 19.
you get a hold of her, and now you got to try to hold on to her. So make an opposed strength check. So you're just doing a strength check. Oh, well, she rolls a natural 1, so all you got to do is not roll a natural 1.
I rolled a 7.
Okay, so you manage to grab her, and then
Was that really fast? Like I didn't have to move, right? I took a step forward and stop if she caught her.
yeah.
Like I was gonna get out of the chair or whatever, then I just kind of stopped and sit back down.
Yeah, the way it's set up is like you're on the right side of her. So when she got up to run, Aluna like reached forward and grabbed her arm and stopped her, and then you were getting up at the same time, but she didn't get a chance to move past you. Okay, so Reginald, you see this, and you said you wanted to. You said the.
I was going to move to her.
Okay, so you certainly can do that. When you get up and you move toward the Lord's Muck says, Reginald, what are you doing? Do you engage him in this, or do you move past him?
I stay where I'm at. If I realized that I wasn't allowed to move about, then I would have just stayed in there.
Well, that was never specified, so he said what he...
I say, oh, she needs help, but I don't move past.
Okay. All right, so we'll put you there. And let's switch to... Nope, let's go to this one. Okay. So what we have here is we have... There's Reginald here. There's the Lord's Muck. That's Evan Patrick. And I had a figure for the man. What the fuck did I do with him? Oh, here he is. Okay, so the man's right there. And then there's Bjorn. And then she got out of her chair. You grabbed him and Bjorn stood. So they're kind of... And she's like, no, let me go. I don't want to go. Okay. So I need... Bjorn and Aluna no?
Yeah?
The man, no, nothing. The man says, Falco, what are you doing? And she says, I won't go. I want to be with Reginald. And the abbot says, Avatar of Cryos, I beseech you, she would be safe. It would heal. our relationships Woody kind of starts walking up through the middle, and he's like, "Hey man, you don't have to put hands on her. Just, if she doesn't want to do it, what are you gonna do? Force her?" And at that, the flautist, she's like, "I think the abbot understands what's at stake here, Woodward." And he's like, "What do you mean, what's at stake? That's a girl." And from the crowd, you hear one of the other guys say, "We want our lands to be safe. Does it not matter what our peasants, serfs, and our vassals have put up with over these many years?" The man says, "Everything was fine. Everything was fine until it wasn't." There's kind of a weird little standoff now as Woody's like, well, now what? What are you going to do? You going to... Reginald has his hand up.
Does the Duke protest, or does he allow me to move and help?
He only said what he said the first time. "What are you doing?" And then you were like, "Oh." But he hasn't like reached out and touched you or anything.
Okay, I'm going to move to Falco and take her hand.
Okay.
I've missed you. It's good to see you're safe.
So you move up there and people are kind of like, "Hey, what's going on there? I need Reginald to make a charisma check, please."
$33.
Oh my, okay. So Bjorn, you and Aluna, you can see some man that you haven't been introduced to, but could assume to be Reginald because of Falco's reaction. Seems to be moving over. Do you do anything, get in his way, or get out of his way? Anything at all?
I would still... Oh, there's a piece of bread underneath my desk. I would stay there. But I'm not going to leave the vicinity of them, too.
Okay. And Bjorn?
Just that.
You do that
little,
to Reginald?
Little red-headed, greasy dwarf, You're not.
Okay.
Not
So the man looks at Reginald, and as Reginald goes over there and goes to take her hand, the man's like, "Reginald, I'm sorry. It is a small price to pay for the safety of these lands."
We can still be together. I swear I would protect her and make her happy.
Unfortunately, the flautist has moved up very quietly, and she says,
We give a polite bow as she steps forward.
"Those kind of options are no longer allowed. There was one such coupling between a member of our coven and a human, and it caused much distress and led to a series of unfortunate events that almost destroyed our alliance. We do not think that is a good idea. And Falco says, I'm not going to go with you. Father, you can't do this. And he says,
That is slavery.
he says, it is done. Release her. And he says that to Aluna and Bjorn.
Conflicted over there.
So she doesn't get a say so in any of this?
Abbot Patrick says, this is much bigger than a girl's fleeting love.
Who are you guys to decide? I guess that happened to her.
You hear from the crowd a man, some unnamed lord or nobleman says, who is letting the bitch speak? And the man's eyes flash in anger and he says, you will not talk to her that way. And just for a second his fists clench up and one hand slightly, just barely moves toward the sack before unclenching the belt pouch, and he kind of puts his hands in front of his belly. He says, now, Falco, if you were to go with Reginald, you would be hunted down. You would eventually be captured. I've seen this
Why would you
before.
let your daughter fall to this?
Because of all of the death and destruction that has come before now, the alliances that were broken by the actions of
You?
the ogress caused the lands to be left unprotected. And though the most imminent danger of the attack by the Acharamans has been thwarted, it is by no means a permanent condition unless they are shown that they cannot set foot upon these lands ever again. And the only way that that would happen is if the Coven and the Circle are once again together.
So to sell your dog.
There's no selling. Do you not believe that the well-being of the people of these lands is worth more than one person's happiness?
I believe it is important that each person should decide their own fate. This, what you're doing, is tantamount to being an Acharaman and forcing her into servitude that she's not a willing participant. I know, I was dragged on that shit. I was beaten and deprived. And I don't want to see that for her.
I need Reginald to roll me a D10.
2.
have a reaction adjustment on your dexterity.
I do. +2.
All right. The man seems thoughtful, as if your words seem to be at least thought-provoking. When from this door up here, you hear, "We have not brokered this arrangement to have it done in by the likes of you." And you see what appears to be a priest of the blend casting a spell. So, any of you may react to this or not. Daryl's got his hand up.
I attempt to shield Falco and take her under my arm, put my back to the priest.
Okay. What about you guys? What about Bjorn?
I would help shield Falco too when I see him going for it.
Okay.
For her.
What about you, Bjorn?
So, I wanna, I wanna make sure that I have this straight. Before talking to you, Cobb, he's giving his daughter away to the druids, correct? Like he's
Some
forcing
group
her-
called the Southern Coven.
Southern Coven, okay. And because gods determined it so, right? Like they said it needed to happen to prevent some calamity, or is just this people gabbing like if we don't do this, something bad's gonna happen?
Well,
Just so I just want to make sure I have it like perfectly clear.
well, I don't want to give you information that you wouldn't be privy to.
Just from like what I've heard, like the reason she has to go is because Cryos said it, or because her dad said it.
It sounded like the reason she has to go is because if she joins the Coven, then the Druids and the Coven will be able to rejoin and provide a defense against the invading forces of the Acaramans and whatever else. Like there was a weakened state by what would normally defend these lands, and it allowed the invasion. And whether that's true or not, I can't say.
No, that's silly. Like so these petty squabbles over an alliance that could happen without this woman joining the Coven is happening for selfish reasons.
If that is your interpretation, then
That is Bjorn's interpretation.
please do what thou wilt.
Right. So then I would jump up on the pew and yell at everybody to stop these petty squabbles, and pretty much say, this isn't about her. This is about you and your alliances. And I would step in front. It's an abomination of the church. That's how I would say it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay.
I would put my shield up too, just because I have it.
Okay. So a spell is cast,
I have no idea what's going on.
and I need Reginald, Bjorn, Aluna, yeah, I guess that's it. I need you all to make saving throw versus spells. Now, before you roll it, let me double check and see if you get any kind of bonuses or negatives.
If it's a sleep or charm, I have resistance.
You said spell? That's a specific...
I know, But if it's a
Save.
sleep or charm spell, I have resistance.
Right. That's different though, isn't it? Does your saving throw the same as mine? We have all the same ones?
Yeah.
Alright.
Okay, so... Okay, so all of you get a normal saving throw, and then if you have a magical defense adjustment on your wisdom, you would add that to your d20. So you're trying to roll as high as you can, and your saving throw versus spells, and that's what's on the... So, go ahead and roll, please.
It's a 20, correct?
It is, and you're trying to meet or beat the number on your sheet. So let's
Fine.
start with Reginald. Reginald.
Failed by 10.
Oh no, you must have rolled pretty bad.
Rolled a 3.
Okay, and then let's go to Aluna.
Fail by 2. 3.
Oh no.
Stop.
I
And
passed.
okay.
I'm okay. I beat it by 2.
So in the in the
A self-righteous dwarf in the front.
in an attempt to not cause harm, Reginald and Aluna feel themselves unable to move. Their eyes are open and they can see, but their muscles are tensed and tight.
I've
And
got my cloak stretched out around the principal.
as as Reginald, as you go to cover Falco, and you take your cloak and you kind of put it around, you feel yourself tense up, and then you just kind of fall forward, kink, but your arms and legs don't move. So you're like if you took a figure and jumped it over, and you're like cling. And the same thing goes with Aluna but you're like standing straight up. So you kind of like got this motion where you're moving to like hold on, but then you're stuck there. You are under the effects of a hold person spell. And I need to keep track of the duration. Okay. So with that, the murmuring grows louder. The crowd of people starts to shout out. Some people say, "Don't do that, that's dangerous." To others saying, "Anything for the Republic." Abbot Patrick saying, "Don't hurt her. Don't do anything stupid." Several of the men that had moved up, they moved towards Falco. And Bjorn, you are aware of
Don't let
this.
anybody get near.
Okay, so you are going to be engaged with 3 guys over here.
Yeah.
So
Nobody's allowed to get near any of these people.
okay. And from this side, there are 3 more, and the abbot's like, sometimes the medicine is bitter. And I would like Bjorn to give me an action.
I will defend myself if swung on. But I'm going to run interference on anybody trying to lay hands on anybody in this little group here. But I'm not going to attack unless attacked first.
All right. Roll initiative.
And I tell them to undo this black magic. Because I have no idea what's happening. Set at 12, yeah?
D10.
10. 5.
Daryl always fails saving throws, just so you guys are aware. I don't know if you remember.
You asked me to play because nobody was rolling ones.
Well,
Yes, we did. It was just...
okay. So,
Not important ones.
they move up finally when it's their turn, and they are attempting to, like one of them's going to push Aluna out of the way, and the other two are going to grab Falco. So, what do you do?
The two that are going to grab Falco, I would shove my way in between them. Like, one after the other, push them away with my shield if I need to. Like,
Okay, well you can move up there no problem because you want initiative. And then when they get up there, they're going to try to move past you. So, are you going to attempt to hit one with the shield?
push? I don't know. Just push them?
Okay.
I don't know if that's like a...
It,
is
yeah,
a thing.
it's
Yeah.
a thing. Roll an attack.
Roll attack. Just on melee?
Yes.
Melee attack go?
Yes.
That goes 13. I got an 8.
That go minus your dice
5.
roll is armor class. Armor class 5. Yep. Okay. So you hit. Make a strength check.
That's on a
D20.
Gotcha.
Ooh, he rolled high. Beat a 30.
I rolled an 11.
Add your strength.
So it's 1892.
All right.
18 or 1897. Does it matter?
29.
Just 18.
Right. Okay. So you did not knock him down. That's what that roll was for. Okay.
Okay.
So you
Keep your hands to yourself,
shield
you
bash to
bastards.
one. The other one goes to grab Falco, and she's like, ah! Oh, and he rolls horribly, and she like fends him up. Man,
Choke on that, mister.
I
Got
better
the bid.
get some water.
Why am I the only one not paralyzed, you bastards? Killing me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I rolled a 3.
Oh, I can. I'm the worst at saving throws.
Sometimes it
I died the last time I had to roll an important saving roll. Thank you very much. I died a horrible fiery death.
Okay. So you hear Woody say, "Oh man, that's not fair. Dispel."
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Doing that little short man shuffle back and forth, like keeping my back.
That'll
to
work.
them and front to them.
He dispels the magical effect. Aluna and Reginald are no longer held.
I would, as soon as I notice it gone, I would put myself in between Falco and the people coming to grab her.
Well, there's kind of like a fracas now.
Well,
And-
I would wiggle my way in.
Evan Patrick's like,
He's a loss for words.
violence is not allowed. Violence is not allowed in the temple, you fools. Stop it. Stop it!
I look at everybody. You heard the man.
The man says in a loud, booming voice, "Take your hands off my daughter." And for those of you who witnessed this, he reaches into his belt pouch on his side. He produces some type of almost red hot glowing stones as if pulled from the bellows or the forge, as if pieces of red hot steel in his hands. And he holds his hands out and he says, "You go too far." And he holds his hand out, the palm of his hand facing forward, and he points it in that general direction, which has Falco, Bjorn, Aluna, and the three guys. All of you need to save versus spells. Unfortunately, there is an adjustment, so you need, if you are successful, you will need to tell me by how much.
Alright, we're gonna try a different D20.
And this is not subjected to any kind of magical defense adjustment. So, let's start with Aluna.
I got a 19, so 8? Right. You went high, yeah. So I'm successful by 8.
Okay, and with the adjustment, you are still successful. Reginald.
It was an 8. I failed by 5.
Oh, bummer. Okay. And Bjorn.
I'm successful by 3.
Oh, okay. With the adjustment, you fail.
Oh no.
So
These are meat.
So Reginald and Bjorn, you find yourselves hit by like rays coming from the palm of the man's hand, and the lights you notice are in a pattern, as if the pieces of lights or the pieces of whatever that he's holding and that are like stuck to the bottom of his hand, they form a rune, or they're in a specific shape, one that looks like something, if if you had astrology, you may recognize, but you do not. So you are affected by a spell. You are both slowed, and what that means is you move. Dismiss.
I know what slow means.
I will tell you exactly what it means because I can look it up. Okay. You automatically lose initiative, and you reduce your base initiative and weapon speed by 2 phases. Your movement rates and attack rates are halved. Okay. The 3 guys. Failure, success, and natural 20. Holy shit. So, Reginald, come on, you cocksmoker.
Just being a real tit fucker, right?
And then this guy here, no, that's, yeah. You are all slowed. Those other two guys are not, though. Aluna, you were successful, even with the adjustment. Okay. The flautist. She will cast a spell as well on one of the two guys that made their save. When she starts casting a spell, you hear the crowd start to get even louder, and it sounds like there are people making for the exits and getting a little agitated, maybe scared. There seems to be a heightened sense of this is turning into something that it shouldn't have turned into. He fails his save. This guy here, he starts to bleed from his eyes, and in slow motion, as Aluna is right there, she turns and looks and sees as the blood starts to spill out onto the floor in slow motion, and Abbot Patrick's like trying to move forward. No! And then the blood hits the ground. And all of the doors lock. And the bars fly down on their own.
Uh-oh.
We go to the next round. Actions. We'll start with Aluna.
I guess guard. I'm just trying to keep my body in between anybody else and Felgo.
Well, you can certainly try to move. Do you have an action? Are you readying something?
Yeah, if they try to come towards her, I'm going to try to pull her away, like away from them. So I don't know what that would be called.
You're readying an action. The trigger is if
They try to grab her.
which, I mean, there's two of them right there, so it's very possible.
And unfortunately, there's not much I can do.
And your thing is you're going to try to pull her somewhere.
The opposite direction that they're pulling her.
Okay. And Bjorn?
Can't do anything.
You have an
I'm
action.
slow. I'm slow. I got to. See, I am slow. Same thing. I'm just trying to keep people from taking people. Getting in the way. Pushing them. Whoever's still up over there is not allowed to get near. So ready in action, I suppose.
Okay.
So,
And the action is to attempt to keep people from touching.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody's allowed to take anybody away from me.
All right. Reginald.
Yeah.
I'm going to parlay and begin to move. I know I'm slow. Toward the flautist.
Okay. Let's start with Bjorn. Roll a d10 for initiative, please. A 10.
I only got an 8.
All right. So, on the loser side of fast, Reginald starts to move towards the flautist.
I say, don't do this. And I'm reaching out, put my hands up. Help us.
All right. So you get to there. These guys are still going towards Falco, so Luna, you can move over there and try to grab her. Roll a d20.
For melee?
Yep.
What are the Duke's men doing?
Aw.
Where his arm? I know his guards weren't there, but what's the Duke doing?
I got a 12. I missed.
What does that hit?
Armor class. No, I mean, I got an armor class 12.
Oh, okay. Yep. That misses as you try to grab Falco. Falco appears to be running towards the man. Okay. Bjorn, there is one of them that is going after Falco. You
Definitely
may
not trip him.
roll an attack.
Me?
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha. One.
You had an armor class of 1?
It's one. Yeah.
All right. And I think on a trip, you would, if I remember correctly, they will make a saving throw. Let's see if I'm right. 'Cause that is a,
It's an acrobatics. Dexterity save.
nope, not there. Come on. Where'd you go? Not on horse. Nope.
Combat tactics?
Yeah, I'm just trying to. There it is. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay, make an opposed strength roll, please. Because you are trying this unarmed, you will have a penalty to your roll.
Sir,
So,
I have 2 arms.
huh?
I said, sir, I have 2 arms. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Dare
so
you.
make an opposed roll of his strength against the defender.
You gave it back to me fair and square.
Okay, so make a strength check, please, and tell me your total.
That would be a 33.
Okay, well, with your -4, that still beats what he got. He got a 20. So, he falls down. Do-do. Bloop. Right there. Okay, she goes la 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 and runs over there to him. And he kind of
Oh, I'm
Pushes.
sorry, I didn't see you there.
pushes her from behind. Are you going to bed? It's only 9 o'clock. You ready? Daryl, how you doing? You getting tired?
Oh, I'm sleepy, but I'm all right.
Okay.
It's Friday. I don't have to get up.
You have lots of food. Alrighty. So, it is, so you, Reginald, you had said parlay, so that gives you an opportunity to say much more than you did. So what, is there anything that you're attempting to do with this parlay?
My goal is to interrupt any spell she might be casting, actually. I'm waving my hands in front of her and I'm moving right in her face. Stop this! Help us! Don't force her! Free will is the essence of life!
Okay. So, make a...
No one will serve you truly if
Make-
they are poor.
Make a charisma check, please.
29.
Oh, okay. So you can see that she kind of puts her hands down and she's like, oh, if only we got to pick what cages we're in. And with that, from behind you look and you see Woody casting another spell. And he's like, you're right, dude. Who the fuck do you think you are? And he casts a spell. And it looks like he's casting a spell on the flautist. And he puts his arms together and he's like, you need to sit down and be quiet. But the energy then comes out and it flies past the flautist and goes and straight at the man. The man puts his other hand out and grabs that energy right out of the air. And he looks and he says, you shouldn't have done that! Woody's like, oh, okay. Okay. Aluna's went. Bjorn's went. Reginald's gone. Now it's the man. And he says, he takes his hand with those lights and they shift and they form into what looks like maybe a horn. Almost like you're looking at the nighttime sky. And he points it out towards the crowd. And a blast, like a huge horn, somewhat similar to something Reginald might have heard in the past at a certain fort that maybe had something to do with a certain ancient druid that had a glade and they had a thing and all this other stuff.
It's a calamity.
And the crowd of people there, well, that's about as wide as you can get. About half these people here, they all get knocked down. Blah, 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 blam, blam. The other guys are like holding on to pews and holding on to each other and they remain standing. But like half of all these people here are all knocked down. And you hear some of them say, how dare you? Who do you think you are? And others are like, be careful. He's losing it. Abbot Patrick's like, no violence. No violence. And he starts to move behind the altar when the man gets an attack of opportunity on him. He grabs him by the scruff of his neck and he says, you lied to me! And he throws him up over the altar, and he disappears behind the altar to who knows where. And a flying throw by the man who, for an average size looking individual, seems to be very strong. Almost like he's got some kind of extra abilities in him that you don't know about, other than you might have an idea based on everything that I've described over the entirety of the game. Oh, anyway. All right. He looks out and he says, "None of you are good enough." Let's move to round 3. Reginald, action.
Exactly.
Bjorn.
Just protecting the lady.
Okay. She has moved over. She's now by the man, just in case you can't tell by the
Right.
map.
Well,
Okay.
I'm still holding off whoever's here.
You are. You knocked one
Right.
down. There's one that's kind of moving slow like you. And then there's another one that I forgot. He needed to move up. So Aluna, you were going to try to stop him. So what are you going to do to stop him?
I guess just push him. I don't have anything fancy
All right.
to do.
Roll an attack. By the rules, what you're trying is something called an overbear. So it's just it's like if you can actually hit him, then you both make opposed strength, and either one of you may be knocked down.
Armor class 6.
Okay, so you do manage to hit him. Now make a opposed strength roll. So make a strength check, please. He got, not great, a 13.
Oh, I got a 12.
Oh no! Okay, so
Aw.
let me see if you get knocked down because of that.
Oh no. Yeah, this would be very good. I'm not very big.
You're not.
What are you trying to say, lady?
I know you're not very big either.
I'm tiny. I just have a really good center of gravity. That's how I wrestled an elk. I'll tell you sometime.
Okay, so that you weren't able to slow him down. That's all that was. You don't go knock down though. If you would have rolled a natural 1, you probably would have hit the deck. But okay, so he moves up and he goes to grab Falco, and he is able to put his hands on her. Now she's like, ah! She will be the pink dice of death. 5. Well, she's not that strong. So he has a hold of her. And the man glares over and his eyes flash with power. And Bjorn, you can try to trip or do something to this other guy that's moving slow. It's finally his turn.
Is he walking by the other guy? Like,
Well, the
guy
one that's on the ground there, he doesn't get to go yet. He can't even get up.
Right.
So there's
Can I
still.
attempt to put him on top of the guy that's already on the ground?
Explain to me how you want to do that, and we'll see.
You know, kind of like I did the first guy, where I stick my foot out in front of him, but
Yeah.
then I put my hand on his back, just kind of help him along, since he's so slow.
So you're going for like a trip with a fall where you want him to fall.
Yeah, I'm just pushing him in the right direction.
All right. Roll an attack.
Yeah, easy. I got 5.
On class 5? Okay. So you make connections with his leg. You kind of like duck under and go whoop. Now have a opposed roll. Your strength versus his. He got that's pretty good, 27.
26.
Oh, Oh, okay. So you go to trip him, and he like stumbles, but then he's able to keep going, and he gets over there, and he also is going to try to put his hands on Falco, and that is good enough. And then we do the opposed roll there, and he is unable to. She likes wriggling around, so he goes over to try to help. And like the guy that got past you just now, Bjorn, she jerks out of his, but the other guy still got her. Okay. And then the man's already gone. And Reginald wishes to attack. Who is he going to attack?
I'm not sure exactly where I am on the map, but I'm going to move. I attempt to run and to feel, is my body moving normally, or am I still slow?
Yeah, unfortunately you're still slow, so your move is halved.
I'm going to attempt to...
That's you right there.
The guy, okay, the guy that just missed the attack on Falco, I'm going to attempt to grapple him.
Now he's on the opposite side of the one that actually has Falco. So this guy has her,
Okay.
he missed, and he's slowed. And then there's Aluna right there.
I'm going to try to move and grapple the guy that has Falco.
Okay. All right, well, you can get there because that's only 2 squares away. So roll an attack.
That is going to hit an armor class of 4.
Okay, now make an opposed, or this with a, what are you trying to do to this guy? Are you trying to pull him down, or you want to grapple? Okay, so grapple is an opposed attack roll. This is where you might do damage. With the overbearing one, they just get knocked down and they don't take any damage.
I'm
Okay.
grabbing him around the neck,
Okay.
trying to get under his arm
So,
and get his on it.
Make another attack roll, and whoever gets the lowest armor class is the winner. So he rolls that, and that hits an armor class of 3. And you hit an armor class. You hit a 10? Okay, so you get over there, you try to grapple with him, and then he finagles, he like takes his one arm and pushes you in the chest, and with your slowness, you're like hard to react, and you are pushed off him back into your square. Okay. And I think that is everybody. The man holds out his palm, but this time he raises it straight up and points it at the ceiling. And he says, if it is the only thing you care about is your alliance, then I'll make sure that that doesn't happen. I'll destroy that which you find most sacred. And with his movement, he moves up into the air and blasts through the ceiling of the temple with like a light that's coming off his hand and flowing around him like water. It's kind of like a Captain Marvel kind of blast through, and as he flies away, you hear Woody go, "Well, that can't be good. What do I do now?" To which the people in the place are like, yelling and stuff, and then all of the doors open like simultaneously, bam, and they clatter open, and there's a bum rush for the exits, and all of the guys that were trying to get Falco you hear them, come on, let's get out of here. And basically everyone's fleeing. If any of you wish to take like just free random pot shots at random individuals, you may. Otherwise you do not. Or you can tell me what else you'd like to do. So Reginald has his hand up.
I speak like I just had dental surgery. Yeah, you better run. Because
Okay.
I'm slow.
Yes. And Bjorn, you're kind of slow still. But as the place starts to get less loud, if you will, the commotion is starting to die down. The spell effects that Bjorn and Reginald were under appear to be fading. You start to regain your freedom of movement. And whether it's because the spell ran out or you think probably because the entity that put that spell on you is no longer present, you are now unaffected. Leaving Woody, and you see that there are one of the coven seems to be injured. There's a lot of people back over here that are injured. You see Abbot Patrick walking around the altar holding his head, and there's like a huge wound, and there's blood coming down the front like the proverbial crimson mask in a wrestling match. Like he really got his head hit on something and he's not feeling well. And then everyone else has fled.
Did the flautist leave with the other coven people?
She is attempting to help the one of the member of the coven that's down, and Falco runs to Reginald and tries to embrace you,
I hug her.
leaving you see other members of the monastery, other monks start to come in with like buckets and things, and they start tending to the wounded. And Woody's back here, and he's like, wow, what just happened?
You tell me, Mr. Woody.
Well, hey man, I wasn't for the whole force thing. I mean, you know, I understand it, but I didn't do that. He's like, look at somebody else, not me.
You seem to help. I'm not accusing.
Oh, that's cool.
You entered with the coven, though.
Yeah.
It seemed like you were with the people trying to force her to join them. But I mistook that.
Well, I'm friends with everybody. Fuck, you can't tell people what to do, man.
I appreciate that you saw that for me.
I mean, they want
And
to.
I bow and I tip my hat, Reginald Xanthor, and I look at everybody in the room, you know, the people standing around helping Falco. At your service. And I put my hat back.
I think we have a much bigger problem now.
I thought it left.
Oh, but it's not gone.
Abbot Patrick kind of stumbles over, and he's like, "Hey, can brother get a Band-Aid over here? Come on, somebody!" And one of the monks kind of scurries over, starts tending to him, and he's like, Well, that didn't work, did it?
Yeah, usually forcing somebody to do something they don't want to when their father's very powerful usually doesn't work.
I tried to heal the lands. I tried to heal the rifts. Sometimes people don't want help.
You were all for serving her up to the coven.
Oh, please. If you had to pick between all of the people everywhere and one, if you pick just the one, that's a terrible choice.
There has to be another solution.
If in medicine, if you have a foot that's gangrene and you leave the foot because you want that foot, but it's gangrene, the whole body dies. So you cut the foot off. Sorry.
You don't speak of Lady Falco as a dangerous disease. That is no comparison.
Of course she's not a dangerous disease, but the metaphor still applies, I think, Reginald Xanthor. And then he's like,
we've met before.
I know we have.
But you could still cut your foot off and you could still die from a lingering infection.
Not if you're under the care of the Church of Benevolence.
They are good. They know their stuff.
But I don't know what he was referring to when he left. Do any of you?
I have an idea. I don't know. Right.
Abbot Patrick calls to one of the monks and he's like, "Hey, I know she's not allowed to have been here, but we could really use Vanessa. Would you go summon her, please?" And the monk just bows and runs off. Meanwhile, Vanessa, having heard a little something but is still in timeout for the previous thing, she is summoned to the temple. And of course she goes and she sees people that need help and she provides it, and you all see this. How would you describe the thing that Bjorn and Aluna see there, Daryl?
7 foot tall plus, greenish, brown skinned woman, buxom proportions with fangs, with one fang sticking out as one side, big old horse teeth on top, with a white robe, a belt around, a sash around it, an emblem of blend on there,
So
with some pouches and herbs and incense.
she begins going around assessing the situation, and she's actually able to cast spells, and she asks, "What happened?" And she is told what happened.
These two saw Vanessa and fought with her on the island.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you remember this person, this entity, if you will. And
Yes.
she remembers you, and then she goes about her business.
Can't say she looks familiar.
All right, so Falco's like, "I don't know what he'll do, but thank you all for standing up for me. I'll never forget it. I don't know what I'll do now." And she turns to Reginald. Hee hee.
He takes her hand.
Maybe you should go back to your mom where it's safe at least and people can't find you and hunt you down.
Did the man drag her from the city all the way here? Did he abduct her?
No.
No, I wanted to come because I was told you were going to be here.
You're the sweetest thing. I've missed your beautiful eyes.
You don't know how lonely I've been, Reginald. Is there some place that we can go and catch up? I am unfamiliar with this place.
I lean in and give her a kiss.
She accepts it without going overboard.
Yeah. Okay. I've been here a few times. The grove is full of tents and people at the moment, but a quiet contemplation in the courtyard would be enjoyable.
She says, that does sound nice. A courtyard, yes. Will you
I'll
take
tell
me
you
there?
the deal.
And then she says, would you all like to come too?
I'll tell
No.
you the tale of the Deepwater Pool.
What will you do now then?
Go try to stop your dad from doing whatever he's gonna do.
Oh my gosh. How are we gonna get paid? My face just kind of pales out. Oh. The sudden realization that the paycheck just left the room. Oh.
All right, so that is actually a great place to stop because for those of you that do not know what happens with the man and how this ends up, you can watch episode 77 of Ghosts, or whatever episode that last one was. Or I could just tell you now, if you want the cliff notes. Basically,
I watched it.
he goes to where the other heroes are, although he doesn't know they're there. But he's going to destroy the Calamitry, one of the sacred trees of the Druids.
Oh no.
And there's a fight there because the other heroes are trying to protect it, and the battle was fierce, and he broke through their lines after casting magic, and they cast magic on him, and he went up to the tree, and the tree attacked him first, but he did not attack it. And then the tree embraced him whenever the heroes let him go, because he told them if he was to be destroyed, he would then be rejoined with the Titan, the constellation Titan. And since he was the missing piece, he decided instead of doing that, he would let the tree heal him, and the tree embraced him, pulled him in, and he will never be allowed to rejoin with the Titan, and that was his choice. And as far as we know, that will supposedly save his daughter from ever being subjected to the wrath of the constellation Titan. So that's it. That's it for Ghosts.
Finishing up the loose ends.
Thief and Chef, you have to decide what you would like to do with the rest of your lives. And just so you know, there's no way you could have got there in time. This thing's way far away. Over the evening, Vanessa cast a spell and sent her dream self to one of the characters and told him what happened and to expect something to happen Woody showed up the next day and was like, "Hey man, where's the great evil that's supposed to come?" And they were like, "We don't know nothing about a great evil." And then the dream happened, and then they were like, "Oh shit, that's the great evil that's coming." And then he showed up and they had their fight. So anyway, that's it. So, and the golf clap from Daryl. Yay.
Yay.
So, for the next couple Fridays, I'm going to take a little time off, let those batteries recharge, come up with something to do. You guys kind of just leveled up a little while ago, if I remember correctly, so you should be all good there. But in the downtime, if there's something you want to accomplish, you know, send me an email or a story or something, and we'll reset. And as far as Bjorn's thing, if you want to write something about how much time passes and that gets accomplished and you pay for it, then you can have that item that you commissioned. That would be something possibly for you to elaborate on in your leisure time.
Yeah.
And as far as Aluna goes, obviously you're like a leaf in the wind, so you can do whatever. And as far as Reginald goes, if you want to elaborate at all about what happens with you and Falco, that's totally up to you. So, otherwise, I got nothing left. Any final words from anybody?
Enjoy your time off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need it, man. You gotta recharge the batteries.
Yes. Well, all right then.
Thanks for the great story.
And there was no snakes this time, so we're
No,
good.
no snakes, and all I can say is we're here to have a good time. Hopefully, it was worth your time, and that's all I got to say about that. So.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to keep both your hands.
Yeah. And trying
All
to
right.
take him again. You heard him.
All right.
Good.
And it was not armed.
Good night.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Internet. Thank you.